everyone, it's Stephanie and welcome back to my channel. So today I am starting my Malazan reading vlog for Memories of Ice, which is book 3. This will contain full spoilers because I'll just be documenting my thoughts as I go, and I'm so excited. I read Gardens of the Moon in January and I really liked it, but I don't remember that much about it. And I read Dead House Gates at the beginning of November, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Like, I liked Gardens of the Moon, I loved Dead House Gates, and I think I'm kind of in the minority on that, but just something about it just hooked me from the beginning, and I was just so enamored from page 1. I'm trying not to burn myself out, but I'm kind of embracing this mood reading, and this is all I've been in the mood for. It's all I've been thinking about, and I have not had this experience with the book series in a very long time, so I'm really enjoying this. I have read the first 2 chapters and the prologue, and once again, I'm just struck by Erickson's ability to just write this phenomenal world, and he has so many quotable lines. Like, one is, "Memories are woven tapestries hiding hard walls." And it's just little, like, one-liners like that I just absolutely love. And I feel like I missed so many of those in Gardens of the Moon because I listened to some of it on audiobook. So for Dead House Gates, I just completely read it physically, and I think I got so much more out of it. I don't see how people can read these and remember everything. I'm so jealous that people can do that. I cannot. And I also didn't think I was a person that really liked super puzzly books, but I really like it, and I like connecting the threads as I read and learning more as I go instead of getting these huge, like, info dumps. So, yes. So we're back with a lot of the crew from Gardens of the Moon. Hey, Lucy. Including Whiskey Jack and I think Quickben. Perrin is back, and I'm starting to slowly remember things from Gardens of the Moon since we're back with these characters, which has been really nice. I love in chapter 2 when Quickben puts a pebble in Manung, I think that's how you pronounce it, his backpack, so he could travel or trace him. And then when he gets there, it's the crippled god, this, like, beast that's chained there. And Quickben has access to all these warrens, and he's kind of going through them to escape. And as he's escaping, this gigantic hand comes out of the earth and pulls him in. And it was giving me major fifth season vibes by N.K. Jemisin, which I absolutely loved that. And then when he gets in there, he's in, like, this hall, but it's the ribcage. And I'm just loving all of these, like, epic visuals and just the creativity behind all this. And I still can't fully wrap my mind around it, but I've just decided to just go along for the ride. I'm not going to get all the answers right away, and that's okay. I think it was an interview with, I think, Books with Brittany. He said he gives you information, or the information you need at the time, which has really stuck with me. So I think that's really helping my enjoyment. I know that I'm not going to find out everything right away, but I will eventually. So I just need to be patient and enjoy the ride. And so far the ride has been amazing. So it is 7:30 and I plan on sitting down and reading a good amount of this, or at least as much as I can, before I get tired and need to go to bed. But I am so excited, and so many people have said this is the book that just really made Malazan like a top series for them. So I'm really excited to see if I think the same way, or like what was that turnaround that caused that switch. I can't wait. So I'll check in after I've read more and have more of an update. Hello. It is a while later. I temporarily put this down and then just now picked it back up. And I also made the mistake of not vlogging my thoughts chapter by chapter. I just cannot do big sections at a time. So I know I'm going to miss some stuff that I wanted to talk about. But basically, this part will be spoilery for all of part 1 and then up through chapter 11. So be forewarned. So I am super hooked now. At first, it was a little bit slower getting into it, and I wasn't as just gripped as I was with Dead House Gates, but that has changed. I'm really enjoying seeing a lot of the characters from Gardens of the Moon, and it's nice to be back with some people that we've already met instead of every book just meeting new people and going to a new place, which I know that still happens, but it's nice to see some overlap. So one scene that really struck me is, I think it's chapter 8. We have the Mabe, and she's just really struggling and just praying for any deity who will listen to just end it for her. Because Silver Fox, even though I love Silver Fox, she is just, inadvertently just sucking the life out of the Mabe. And it's literally killing her. And then she's just emotionally and physically and mentally exhausted. And there's one scene she has this dream, and when she wakes up, Croup is there, and I was kind of envisioning Croup as this Jar Jar Binks type character, just because for most of what I've read, he's just been very la-di-da, and everything is great, and all my phrases are positive, and he brings her a gift, and it's these copper blades. And at first I was like, oh, this isn't going to be good, because it said something like to help you ... become at ease or something, or take care of things. And at first I was like, oh, he's going to give her these so she can finally end it. However, it made me tear up. However, he actually gave them to her to help ease her suffering, because apparently copper has a lot of healing qualities. And she's like, these aren't a cure for old age, but he says maybe it'll help, with your pain and your suffering. And that scene touched me so much. And he talked about how Faith is a friend and Dream is a sister, and they need to be together. And just the fact that he had such a thoughtful gift for her and let her know that he sees her pain and he knows she's suffering and he just wants to do something to help her, and this is the best he can do. And she felt seen, just made me so emotional. So emotional. And I absolutely loved that. I also am really enjoying following Perrin. I feel like in book 1, Gardens of the Moon, he was very just take everything in stride, just get it done, let's go. And since then, he has had things happen and he has a weight on his shoulders, and he's starting to realize the consequences of his decisions. Even if he's trying to make the best decision possible, everything has a consequence. And there's one scene where Mallet was trying to help, I think his name is Mulch, and Mallet said, there's something wrong with the Warrens, and so my healing, it will save him, but it will likely kill me. And Perrin's like, just do it. You need to save him. And then after, he's like, oh my God, I literally just told someone to kill themselves. And it just clicks. And he had to sit and just think on that. And I really enjoyed seeing that character arc. And I really enjoy that he's a flawed character. And I feel like his reaction to these things is totally realistic. Like, you just, as a commander, I'm sure you just say, yes, do it. This is what's best at the time. And then it's like, oh my God, I just told this person to do this. What have I done? And it was insane. I also really like the dynamic with Picker and Bend and Spindle. They are so funny, and I love the banter between them and the quick wit in their remarks. Spindle's hair shirt is disgusting and just ew, and I'm sure it smells just lovely, but it just cracks me up. And there's one scene, Picker is like, dude, your mom is not here. She's not gonna see you. Just do it. And he's like, no, she's always here. It's so cute. And then the part with Lady Envy and Talk the Younger, who I'm so happy he's back. I love him so much. And Tool. And they go to, I cannot think of the name of the city, but it's the one with the monks. And when they walk in, there are villagers just hanging there on hooks, and they've basically just been slaughtered as their reward. And they go in and they meet Caruli, I think that's his name, and he's like, your reward will come, but rest, blah blah blah. And then when Talk the Younger wakes up, there's just a slaughter happening, but it's Lady Envy and Baljog, I think is how you pronounce it, and Gareth. They've just become like gigantic beasts, and they're taking all these people out that were going to harm them. And I just thought that entire thing was just so surreal and haunting and just insane. And then they go to the next city, which I also cannot remember the name because it's been a little bit since I read it. But the priests were there, and they're like, yes, we will protect you. It's this day of the year, and the citizens are just on this holy rampage. And then the citizens all come around the corner in this gigantic mob, and the priests are like, actually, I think we're a little insufficient for protecting you, and just book it out of there. Cracked me up. And Talk the Younger just had these revelations, and he's like, I'm leaving. I don't have to stay here. And he just leaves Lady Envy too. And that's the last I've seen of him so far. So I'm really interested to see where that goes. But I just love his character. He's fantastic. And I also am really enjoying learning more about the Warrens and how something is kind of poisoning them and they're not sure what. This whole magic system just fascinates me and just is so incredible. We learn more about it with every book, and it evolves, which I think is amazing. Like with the decks, new cards are created a certain way, and then old cards, are gone through a certain way. And I just am so in awe the more I get in the series of how intricately complex and evolutionary this magic system is. And it's so incredibly rewarding. And I just think it is amazing. Just amazing. So I'm just kind of, and after every chapter, I'm just like, oh my God. So I'm going to try to do better about checking in after every chapter, every couple of chapters, because I think the last time I checked in, I had only read the prologue and chapters 1 and 2. So we'll see. But I am about to start chapter 12. I am incredibly excited. And I am also afraid of what's going to happen next, because I'm really attached to these characters now. And I know bad things are going to happen. I just don't know to who. So I am obviously loving this so much right now. So I will check in when I have more of an update. Hello. So, more of an update. I've read chapters 12 to 14. And so much has happened. Oh my God. So, yes, chapter 12, my Talk the Younger is in peril, and the Seer's Lair is so incredibly disgusting, which it reminded me of two things. The second season, I think, of American Horror Story, where they had the serial killer that used skin and stuff to make like lampshades. I think that was the season. And then also Ed Gein, the serial killer who inspired Psycho and The Silence of the Lambs and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because he did the same thing. He'd use human skin and body parts to make furniture and lampshades and things like that, and masks. So that's what that reminded me of, because it said his walls were just covered in skin. So gross. But that chapter was so interesting, and the seer, I guess, replaced or put in talk as a replacement, and so he's like being crushed and his bones heal and then they're crushed again, and it just sounds so incredibly agonizing. And it said it was a giant reptilian creature that was holding him there, and I want to know what the creature is, and I'm sure it will be revealed in time, but I want to know now. Chapter 13, I also really enjoyed. I really love the scene. They're marching to their next destination, and Whiskey Jack goes to the end of the line to look after Silver Fox, and there are two Marines at the end that are guarding Silver Fox. They volunteered for it, and he just spoke to the Marines like they were, equals and not different levels, and just very kind. And I love that they respected him so much after that. And Silver Fox said something like, "You realize that they'll follow you anywhere now." And I just loved that moment so much. And then shortly after that, just out of the blue, this huge flood of blood just comes out, And it's insane. It's so incredibly insane, but I loved how just epic this visual is. It's crazy. And Whiskey Jack and Corlett are lovers now, and I'm kind of on board with that. I think I ship them that way. I know they're not like exclusive or in a relationship, but I'm okay with this. I like them together, so I'm just gonna go with the flow on that one. And I also, at the end of the chapter, really liked the meeting between Kalor and the Jaghead. And it was so, I love the foreshadowing in it and how it's like, you know something's gonna come, you can't stop it, it's probably gonna be horrible. But I just love the scenes and how he just coordinates this insanely intricate plot, and it just flows to me so well. So I really, really enjoyed that. And then chapter 14, oh my God. It's kind of like, it kind of reminded me of like Helm's Deep and then the huge battle near the end of the Return of the King. Just, but like way more epic and way more people and soldiers and everything involved. And I feel like he wrote it in a way that it was fairly easy for me to follow all the characters and kind of figure out who's where and who the important players were. And I am so gruntled with Gruntle. I love him so much. So there's a scene that just really just hit me in the feels, and Stoney had something just completely horrific and traumatic happen to her, and he takes a look at her and he realizes what happened. So it says, Stoney stepped forward, pressing her face into his shoulder. He wrapped his arms around her. "Let's get out of this fight, lass," he murmured. "I got a clean room with a basin in it and a stove and a jug of water. A room close enough to the far wall for it to be safe. It's at the end of the hallway, only one way in. I'll stand outside the door, Stoney, for as long as you need. No one gets past. That's a promise." He reached down to lift her up. "I can walk, but do you want to, lass? That's the question." After a long moment, she shook her head. Gruntle lifted her easily. "Nap if you mind to," he said. "You're safe enough." And I loved that so much. I love that even though we see a lot of brutality and I think realistic things, that actually happen, even though this is a fantasy world, I love these moments of empathy and compassion. And it gives you a little bit of hope when so many disastrous things are going on. And that made me love him so much more. And they talked about cannibalism a little bit, like it's part of the magic system, I believe. And while it is really gross, it's not graphic, but they mention it. I think it's really fascinating how he incorporated it into the magic system and the world in a way that the characters just know it's part of some of the magic or some of the culture, and they're disgusted by it, but it's a fact. And I just think it's really interesting. I don't think I've ever read anything with that in there like that. So I'm really, really enjoying this, obviously. And I only stopped because I had to drive home from work. So I am officially halfway through. And I know, even though so much has happened, everything is just gearing up for something super epic. I've started tabbing this one as well as I'm going through my Kindle. And I'm so afraid for my characters, but I'm so excited to see what's going to come. And I keep saying that, like, I can't wait to find out. I need answers. Oh my God, I don't want to put this down, but it's so true. It's so exciting. So, yes. I'm going to go read now, and I'll check in, and hopefully I get more answers and I'm not completely destroyed until closer to the end of the book. So we'll see. Chapter 15. Oh my gosh. I think I had a revelation, and I don't know if I'm right. Kaladin was talking to Kalor and I think Silver Fox, and he was saying that the beasts appear to be reptilian and they're Kell hunters, and the Kichain Shamal were matriarchal and matrilineal, and they have a queen. She is the breeder, the mother of every child, and within this matron resided the sorceress capacity of her entire family. Power to beggar the gods of today, power to keep the elder gods from coming to this world, and blah, blah, blah. And then it says they answer to the Panion Seer, which I believe is the seer that is keeping Tok the Younger hostage. So I think the reptilian creature that is basically torturing Tok the Younger is a Kichain Shamal matron. I could be wrong, but I feel like all the evidence adds up. And I'm kind of excited that I had a prediction that I think might be right, because I'm never good at those things, but if I'm right, I will be very proud of myself. I really love Corlett and Whiskey Jack's relationship. They obviously care about each other, but I like that they can be direct and honest with each other and have like a mature relationship. So that makes me very happy. And the scene between with Croup, I just feel like more and more he's just becoming this key player, and I kind of not really blew him off, but I just figured he was kind of an entertaining side character. But I feel like in this book he's just really coming into his own and being more of a part of the narrative. And we've gotten so many good revelations from him. So I'm really interested to see where his story goes. But I mainly just wanted to check in and say I made a prediction. I think I'm right. But I'm going to read and find out. So, hello. So, last time I checked in, I think was chapter 15. And I said about the Kichain Shamal. So, chapter 16, oh my God. So, Gruntle, Iron Fangs, forearm showed a strange pattern of blood stains, the blood blackening and seeming to seep into his skin, and blackened stripes spread away from his eyes and bearded cheeks, and all of that good stuff. So, which Tiger of Summer, which I believe is Trake or Treach. So I think he's turning into his mortal sword, which is really cool. I just love Gruntle. And then, and then it says the building where Gruntle had taken a room, and the walls wept, not water, but blood, which I thought was such a cool image. And not in a like horror movie kind of way, just an insanely epic kind of way. A quote I liked from chapter 17: "What the soul can house, flesh cannot fathom." And I just thought that was such a good quote. And so true. And at the beginning of chapter 17, I was vindicated that I was right. I even wrote it on there that Talk the Younger is being held hostage by the K'chain Shamal matron. And it cracks me up because it said, she's kind of holding him in an embrace, but she keeps re-breaking his bones. And then when he has to go to the bathroom, she just holds him out and lets him go and then brings him back and cleans him like a cat. So gross. But insane. And then the other thing in that chapter that really stood out to me was it was Perrin said he drew a deep breath to steady himself. If swords clash, it will be my first. After all this time, my first battle. And after everything that Perrin has gone through, I didn't even realize this would be his first battle. I know you're always going to miss stuff on your first read through, but I didn't realize that he was that inexperienced in battle. It was just crazy to me. And then the torques that Gruntle got from Picker, I'm interested to see where those go, because I know it was kind of causing her pain. And I also just love Picker and Blend's dynamic. I just think they're hilarious. And I was also really excited because I was able to make a connection between Deadhouse Gates and Memories of Ice. Like, who is she? So it talked about the furred hoof of a god stepped onto mortal ground after the Sky Tour, and Fenner was as good as dead. A god trapped in the mortal realm, and all that. So I think it's referring to when Bodden dragged Fenner into the mortal world. I think Heberick was part of the scene too. But I was just so excited I made a connection, because usually these are so complex that it's hard for me to keep everything on track. So cool. I think chapter 16. I think it was chapter 16. But the last battle scene was crazy epic. And I was so gripped. I just had to read the whole chapter in one sitting because I didn't want to stop. I needed to know what happened. And then Gruntle is talking to Stony, and he was saying that after the whole battle, he said, I feel like I've just woken up and I'm not entirely sure of what happened. And so it sounded like he was a little, kind of like he was possessed. And then she said, Barrow fend us all. It really is you, Gruntle. I thought you were lost to to us for good. And so that makes me kind of like, she likes him, or they're just really, really good friends. Either way, I'd be totally happy with that. And another quote that I really liked, it says, "Sometimes a smile is precisely what we all need." And I just thought that was so incredibly true. So true. And then the last thing from chapter 17, there was pain in the gifts of the elder gods, but sometimes there was mercy. So I'm assuming that's the end of Buke's story. And I have been tabbing this baby up. I am just loving this so much. So much. So I am going to read as much as I can. I'm trying not to just blast through this because I feel like I do. Hey, Lacey. I feel like, hi. I feel like I do better and retain more, and I'm able to kind of process it when I take it a couple chapters at a time instead of just binging it. But I will say this is the first book that I feel like I'm not struggling with the writing style. And even though some of the stuff is kind of hard to wrap your mind around, I feel like I have enough of a footing that I don't constantly have to refer to like helpful summaries or what have you, and I can just sit here and read this for hours and be completely satisfied, which makes me really happy, and I feel like I'm finally getting in the rhythm of his writing. So yes, it's been a good day. So I'm on chapter 18. I'm over halfway through, and yes, I'm gonna get reading. Hello. It is July 21st. I am bound and determined to finish Memories of Ice either tonight or tomorrow at the very latest. I have been reading this book since April and I'm loving it, but I want to get it done so that I can move on. I'm in chapter 25 out of 26, I think, or 25 in an epilogue, something like that. Corlat died, which was really sad. Now they're talking about doing something with the Mabe, which makes me a little nervous. And then they're mentioning that Whiskey Jack was murdered. I have a feeling this chapter is going to kill me, and I'm not ready for it, but I am. So just send me all the good thoughts, because I just have a feeling it's going to be bad. So bad. Bad as in bad for the characters, not bad like a bad book, but here we go. All right. Excuse the ugly hair. I have a headache and I can't, it just hurts to put it up. I'm not even done. Excuse you. Do you want to be in the video? Do you have thoughts on Malazan? Yeah? What did you think about Talk the Younger dying? Yeah? Oh my goodness. And Whiskey Jack? Wasn't it sad? Yeah? I know. I know. I know. It was so sad. I'm not even all the way through chapter 25, and people are dying. Talk the Younger, and then Kovian just died. I don't know if I'm emotionally ready for this. Are you here for me? Thank you. Oliver's a good kitty. Yeah. Thank you for your support. Oh, kisses! Thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, I just have a feeling that this is gonna make me sad. Okay. Onward. We can do this. I finished. It was so good. It was so good. So much happened in chapter 25. My one complaint is I wish chapter 25 had been broken up into different chapters. I just felt like it was insanely long. That did not detract from my enjoyment of it. But I'm one of those people that I like to stop and take a break at the end of a chapter. And since this one was an incredible amount of pages, it was really hard for me to pick where I wanted to stop and take a break. So much. There were so many touching scenes at the end, too. I really loved that after it was all over, Dujek told Picker and all of those to that they were getting paid enough to be able to retire, live your life in peace, do whatever you want, not be required to battle again. And he said, I'll say that no bridge burner survived. You're done. And that was so touching. I loved it. And I also love that Animander Rake offered up Moonspawn for the dead to be laid to rest. I thought that was really touching. And I love the scene where Perrin and Quickben went into Moonspawn to say their goodbyes. And the scene at the end and the epilogue when we're at Picker's Tavern and we see we see Duker. And that made me so happy because he was one of my favorite characters from Deadhouse Gates. And I love that. I think I predicted that he wasn't really dead. I can't remember because it's been at least 6 months since I read Deadhouse Gates. But that made me so happy to see him. And I love that they ended with with someone about to tell the story of Coltane, because I still tear up thinking about that. That was beautiful. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. I definitely see why so many people love this and why so many people say give it till the 3rd book and then make a decision about whether you want to continue on with the series. Each of the 3 books have been a little bit different. Like they're still very Stephen Erickson. They still have the excellent plot and prose and world building and all of that. But I just love how there's a little bit of a shift in each one. That something I can latch on to carry me throughout the book. And this one was just so good. 5 out of 5 stars. I'm definitely continuing on with the series, obviously. I'm going to give myself a little bit of a break before I go into House of Chains, but I really don't want to wait as long as I did between books 1 and 2 and books 2 and 3. So yeah, I'm just going to be sitting on this one for a while and just have a little bit of quiet time because that was such an ending. Such an epic ending. So definitely enjoyed my time reading this. Ran through the gamut of emotions. I'm exhausted. I'm worn out. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Would I reread this again? Absolutely. So yes. Have you read this book? If so, please let me know. Are you planning to read this book? Hopefully you haven't watched all the spoilers if you're planning on reading it, and if you want to leave an emoji, drop a fire emoji down below. Thank you so much for listening to my rambly thoughts on Memories of Ice, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.